Alright, so what we'll discuss today is something that came up as a question uh, by Ninja, and this is essentially part of the roadmap that I'm gonna break down and discuss as I'm going along with the other videos. Now, I still haven't explained the code yet. The code I will explain after I explain the roadmap completely, because I think people have a confusion with what the roadmap is. And there is something else as well that I wanted to address before that whether this is an algo or a trading bot is a question that has been coming up multiple times in the comments that I've been receiving. So the answer to that is obviously in the second explainer video, which you'll need to see before this one to understand whether it's an algo or a trading bot, or whether it's both or what it is exactly. And then you will probably need to get to the other videos, so you'll need to go one by one. That's how I made the videos, that the explainer number 1 is the first video that you need to see, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4, and I'll be making a lot of videos now. So, but I do plan to keep doing this because it's not related to the prop specifically. So I'll continue this, and I'll explain various topics in trading as well as on the blockchain, so that this keeps running as an educational series for Terra and Luna both. So I'll keep doing this maybe. And so this is my answer to the question that whether this is an algo or a trading bot. I have already given that answer in the second explainer video, which you will need to see in order to understand that. But that is not important, because I'll explain why in this one. Because the question of collateral or liquidity to repeg USTC has come up quite a few times, and people are slightly confused about where the collateral or the liquidity is gonna come from. And I wanted to explain this. And there are actually two ways in which we are doing that, and I'll explain the first one first and then the second one after that. So we'll just concentrate on the first part right now. And the first part deals with the CEXs that I have already the one that I am using right now. I wouldn't say that I've configured it right now, because this is also a question that why didn't I connect the wallet code, because I didn't write it. So like when I do write the wallet code, I will connect it, but I haven't connected anything, whether that is a CEX or a DEX. So I did not. So this part is the CEX and this part is the DEX that I'll talk about after that. But I have not connected anything because I did not write the code for it. So when I do write the code, I'll let the community know that, yeah, I mean, this is what we'll go ahead with. But for now, like for all practical purposes, I'm referring to a CEX and specifically Binance. And I'll also address the question about BSwap pools that I talked about in the last video. So I'm specifically talking about Binance and a CEX, so that there is no confusion in understanding how this entire thing is working, and for non-advanced users. Because for somebody who does not understand how we do trading, what is the difference in trading between a DEX and a CEX, and how it works on chain or off chain, it might be a little confusing, because I'm explaining an algo right now. So like I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible. So which is why I'm using a CEX as well, because I wanted to keep it simple for myself and concentrate on only the logic. Because first I had to write the entire logic for the algo first. So I needed to remove all the clutter so that I can write that logic first. So which is why I'm using a CEX for the time being. And the plan of using a DEX obviously depends upon this prop 11859 passing, because I can do that when I do get the time to do that, and the remuneration to do that. So I'll be able to do that only if 11589 passes, because otherwise I can't implement a DEX. I can only implement a CEX, and because that's the fastest way for me to work. And this is the very reason that I talked about BSwap pools in the last one, the Binance swap pools. So the BSwap pools is nothing. I mean, I didn't say that I'm gonna do anything about it if the prop does not pass, because if the prop does not pass, then I can't do anything about it anyway. So I will be using a market trade during that point of time, because this is something that I've explained in the probably in the first I'm not sure, probably in the second video, in the same video on which I've explained about whether it's an algo or a trading bot. So in the same video I also explained that why do we need to, like, why would I go ahead with this essentially, and like why wouldn't I go ahead with the market trade, because the market trade would be more complicated for me to implement at this point of time. So the entire reason is that this is easier to implement at this point of time, and that is why I'm using it. If the prop passes, I'm gonna get payment for the work that I'm doing, and at that point of time I can implement a DEX or whatever. I mean, that completely depends, and I'll get to that part also. But first let's talk about the CEX part, that how is it exactly working right now, and we'll talk about that. And this we can say that it is how it is working right now, and this is probably the future plan that I have actually for the implementation, which is a slightly more complicated plan. So anyway, let's talk about what we have right now. So what we have right now is essentially a trading app, because that the code has been written in Node, so it creates APIs. So I can use those APIs, and like I'll be extending this backend for the rest of the APIs as well, and I'll be writing the backend code on this same GitHub repo. So, but I haven't included the code yet. I haven't done all those things because I didn't get the time. I'm just talking about it right now since the prop is in voting right now. So, which is why I need to talk about it, and I can't work on it right now. So, anyway, now let's get back to the trading app part of it. That the current state of it is that it is a trading app, and I mean I've implemented it as a trading app. So the question of whether it is a trading bot or not doesn't come into the picture, because I've already said that it is a trading app and it is an app. So HODLR is right now an app. So, but the reason that I call it an algo is basically because that algo, the main idea itself is an algo which I have implemented as an app right now. So, and obviously this is how like most of the community understands that this is an off-chain transaction which is happening, which is why I wrote off-chain over here. And since it's obviously on a CEX, so which is why you can consider this as an off-chain transaction, although like for us devs we don't consider it as an off-chain transaction, obviously, because it's also happening on the blockchain. I mean, even if Binance has their own accounts and they are using their own, they just have the keys with them. But otherwise, the way that it is functioning is probably similar to how it is functioning when you are using your own station wallet. So there is no actual difference for a dev, but there is a difference from the perspective of UI and how people understand this. So which is why we refer it to as off-chain and on-chain, but actually for a dev there is no difference. Both of them are on-chain transactions which are happening, obviously, because that is the reason that you can see it on a blockchain explorer, or like Binance gives you a like the transaction is happening from a wallet. It's just that that wallet is shared, and you can even see the transaction on the wallet that is sent from Binance to some other wallet, or from some other wallet to Binance. If you want to check that, you can check that. It even has your account ID over there, so which is why you can check all those transactions. Anyway, so now getting back to it, like I think this is clear that this is a trading app the way that I have implemented it right now. So the way that I'm getting the collateral for a USTC Repeg specifically is from the fees of running this trading app, because as I've explained before, that what we are currently doing is essentially burning the supply of whatever coin this thing trades in. So if HODLR trades in USTC like I've implemented right now, then it will burn USTC. Now if I implement it for LUNC, then it will burn LUNC. So essentially what it is doing is burning supply. So you can think of it essentially, what or how it has been implemented right now is as a burn. So this is how we are repegging USTC, because it's a direct burn of the supply from the profits, or rather the fees that I'm taking from the user, because I've already accounted for approximately 0.3% fees in the test app which is running right now. But generally CEXs have fees like 0.15% to the max. So I've taken twice of that into consideration. So even if I take that into consideration, it's still a lot of burn. And even if you contribute that kind of burn to Repeg effort, then I don't think you have to directly write a code to Repeg something if you can burn supply just by trading and from your profits. This is how I am thinking of it. Now some other person might think of it like differently, how they look at a USTC Repeg, because I am not a L1 dev, so I am not dealing with blockchain code, so I will obviously look at it like this. And so like it should be evident right now that where the liquidity is coming from, because when I'm using Binance's swap pools, then I'm obviously getting the liquidity from Binance, and Binance is handling the liquidity part, so that is not something that I am handling specifically. So this entire thing, whatever liquidity I'm getting from the CEX. And I also tackled the question to what happens if it runs out. Because this is something that somebody asked me today, so I'll tackle that also. So but the answer should be pretty obvious by now. So the other way that liquidity comes from is from a market trade, because I explained last time that in a spot trade, like we have both swaps and market trades. So if I do not have a swap available for LUNC, then I can do a market trade. So the liquidity comes from Binance, and I don't think like Binance's liquidity is gonna run out for both swap pools and a market trade. I mean a normal spot trade. I don't think that is even possible, because they are the largest exchange which is basically trading in LUNC. So that I don't think, I've already taken care of that when I said Binance. So but even if I have to answer the question that what happens if this liquidity runs out, say Binance runs out of swap liquidity, or even like market trade liquidity, or even the exchange shuts down, then what happens? Well, nothing happens, because I'm gonna connect more CEXs to it. So Qcoin is gonna be connected, and Bybit is gonna be connected, and all of these exchanges, whatever else is trading in LUNC, are all gonna be connected to it, because I'm in Asia. So I do not have a restriction for the kind of accounts I can get from an exchange. Most of the, 99% of the exchanges are open to me, being an Asian customer. So I can essentially create an account in almost any CEX and then connect it to it, and the liquidity from all those CEXs will be available in our trading app, so that users can essentially swap, or rather automatically swap to whatever. If we are swapping from USTC to USDT, then we require USDT liquidity, and like the reverse would happen when we are swapping back from USDT to USDC. So this is the entire part that how I'm doing it right now. So you would have understood that the collateral is just coming from the fees, okay, and I'm not taking any additional collateral for a USTC Repeg, because it's not required. I'm essentially burning USTC, and that's pretty much all that I'm doing. So why would I take collateral for something that I'm not doing? in the trading app, because in the trading app what is happening is that every user is investing a certain amount of money into the app, say like 10,000 lunk. Now if the person makes like 50,000 lunk and then tries to withdraw 60,000 lunk, then you can just charge that person like 1% or 2% or whatever it is. At this point of time I have a buffer of like 0.15% because I'm testing it. So this thing it's a variable obviously, because I can change it in the system. I can make it anything I want. I can even make it 1.2%, like I was explaining for the last few videos. I can even do this because the profit that the customer will be withdrawing is much more than this. So he would not mind paying out 1.2% for a burn if the profit is like 10% or 20%. And I think Solid Vote was talking about it, but like that's a very like stupid question, because that was just an example. I didn't say that the actual profit that the user is gonna make running this is gonna be 10% or 20%. That has nothing to do with it. I'm just testing it right now, so I don't really know that how much is the actual profit percentage, because that is not the point of this. That is why I'm saying it again, that you should watch the second explainer video, so that where I'm explaining that what this is actually, whether it's an algo or a trading bot, or what does it do. And you should all watch all the videos to understand what it actually does. It protects user investments. That is what I talked about in the last video, that is the basic job of this algo. And whatever else is happening, whether it's making a profit or whether it's making a loss, is essentially part of that process of protecting user investments. Because the point is not to continuously make profits. That is not the point of this algo. And the point of this algo is also not to continuously trade, because that is just like the nonsensical, honestly. And it does not mean anything, and it does not signify anything, or you're not doing anything. So but over here what we are doing is that the entire objective is to protect user investments. So when we are trading, we are essentially protecting user investments, and if we make a profit during that time, then it's a profit, and if we make a loss during that time, then it's a loss. But the way that I have written it is that you'll mostly make profits over there. And the last time that I ran it for approximately 10 days, and in those 10 days Lunk and USTC were both dumping. So but what happened is that the algo actually shorted it, so it made a lot of profits. And that is how it works. At this point of time, if the market is stable, then nothing will happen. I mean, nothing is supposed to happen, because this is not an algo which is gonna make you profits when nothing is happening in the market. When the market is actually going completely upwards like this, or the market is going like this, that is when the algo makes the maximum profits. When the market is literally like this, then it does not make any profits, this is the reason that I was telling everybody that I require volatility in a coin to actually make this algo profitable. Because this is what the algo does. It actually tries to keep the price always over here in the middle, because market fluctuations essentially make customers lose a lot of money. So this algo was written to do that, to protect that money that customers had invested in. So they obviously know how to trade, but the thing is that they don't know how to protect their investments, which is why this was written, and which is why it's a trading app right now, and which is why it needs to be deployed for the user. Because it's not supposed to be deployed for a USTC Repeg directly on a blockchain. I'm not a blockchain developer anyway. I'm a L2 developer. So I can't do that. I mean, without somebody's help like Frag or Win or somebody else. I can't do that without an L1 dev's help anyway. So this is what it is right now, and I think I've explained quite a bit of like the thing that it should be a lot clearer right now, that what it actually is and what it does, and where I'm getting the liquidity and how the USTC Repeg is actually working, because it's essentially a burn. It's a burn of USTC. That is how I'm repegging USTC. Because I can't directly contribute to a USTC Repeg by writing an algo for the blockchain, which I'll come to next. So, but I definitely can do this, and even if I do this, it's still a lot of burn of supply, and which was the entire idea behind doing this. Now let me come to the second part, and for that I'll remove this entire thing so that it's actually easier to understand the second part. Okay, so you can already see it that I have written over here that it's an, so this part I'm gonna explain the DEX side of it, which is the part that most people understand, and which is not their, I mean, fault, because most people do not work with the CEX. I am a kind of L2 coder who works with the CEX APIs, and I like to do that instead of working with the DEX, because it makes my code clearer for me to understand, because I'm working on something else. I'm actually not working on these things, which is why I would not work with the DEX, because my job is not to work with the DEX. My job is to essentially create something useful for the user at the very end of the experience. So which is why I do not generally work with the DEX. But I'm explaining this part because this part is a future enhancement of this HODLR algo. So which is why I'm explaining this part. So in the future, the plan is that I'm gonna remove the CEX part, because it's obviously a CEX. So I don't need to explain that what is the issue with using a CEX, because a CEX can shut down any day, like it has happened for literally the chain that we are working for. So like, although it's not a CEX, but you can call it a more or less centralized chain, and it just happened with FTX, so which was an exchange. So working with the CEX is obviously risky, and Binance has also been under fire for various reasons. So has been KuCoin, and so has been other exchanges. I mean, there's practically no exchange which has not been under fire. So I completely agree with the point that we need to use a DEX instead of a CEX to do the trades. So now let me come to the part where if we use a DEX, then how are we going to get the liquidity and the collateral? So over here, the liquidity is the simpler part, which I think everybody understands, that how do we add liquidity to swap pools on a DEX, because this is something which is available on Kujira or on Uniswap or something else. So Uniswap is an So over there, like, I can just configure Uniswap to essentially provide liquidity for a coin that I'm using this algo for. Say it is ETH. So I can use Uniswap for ETH also. But say I'm using it for something like, say, Lunk. So Lunk probably would not have such liquidity pools available already, or MMs available already. So I would probably create a sort of a swap pool which is essentially created by users. I mean, the liquidity is added by users. So this is similar to how Kujira does it. Kujira also has created swap pools over there where you can go and you can add liquidity, and what will happen is that you'll be able to get the people who have added it will get the fees of the swaps. So this is why people add the liquidity over there, because whatever fees I'm paying, say I'm paying 0.15% fees as swaps between USTC and any other stable coin, say Silk. Silk is a stable coin on Cosmos. So from Shade protocol. So from Shade, so we can use this. I mean, I'm not opposed to using an on-chain stable coin to instead of USDT, which I'm currently using. So I'm completely not opposed to using it, and that definitely can be done in the future once this prop passes. I mean, unless this prop passes, what exactly am I gonna take to a programmer or another developer and tell him that how to help me work on a DEX, or how do I provide the time to work on it actually? So there is no way to do it right now. But yeah, I mean, we can definitely implement it in the future. So this part should be very clear, that how if I replace CEX with the DEX, then how it will happen, because I can replace USDT with Silk. or Kujira also has a stable coin, and there are more. There's USDC on Cosmos right now, so we can use that from I'm not sure which chain has deployed it, but okay, so we can use it from there, and so this should be pretty clear. Now, how are we getting the collateral for the USTC Repeg? So here there are two aspects. Okay, so like the first is that is the same. Okay, so when we replace the CEX with the DEX, then we are still getting those fees that we can essentially burn, and this burn can be USDC burn or a LUNC burn. It can be any burn. So as long as it is as a burn and we are getting the fees, there is always collateral available for USTC Repeg, because essentially what we are doing is that we are reducing the supply. That is all that we are doing. So this will essentially keep working in the same way like how it is working for the CEX, like how I explained right now. But there is an additional aspect to this, which is the staking aspect to it, and which is something which I talked about in the original Repeg plan that I talked about 6 months back. So over there I talked about staking idea and creating staking pools, essentially USTC staking pools. And this was also a great idea. I mean, I really don't know why LUNC validators right now are not ready to pass my props. Because, and 6 months back also, I'm not completely sure why they weren't ready to pass this one, because this actually had USTC staking pools in it. So we can even get collateral for a USTC Repeg using these staking pools from my original Repeg plan, which I'll talk about at the very end. Okay, not right now, because not in this video definitely. So it's a huge plan, so I need like 10-12 videos to cover just that plan. So which is why I won't talk about it right now, but it does have USTC staking pools from where we can get collateral for a USTC Repeg. And we can even we can couple both of these. I mean, it's not necessary that it has to be either or. It can be both. We can even burn USTC and at the same time have USTC staking pools which can be removed from supply, and the stake can be removed from supply so that the Repeg is faster. So all of this can be done, and I have taken care to ensure that that I completely understand how and where the collateral and the liquidity is coming from, and which is why I wrote the algo like this, so that it is not dependent upon like fetching a billion. Right now we got to recover $60 billion. That's how much we got to recover. So I don't know how, first of all, LUNC validators are thinking about recovering this value unless we have something like this working, because the entire point of this trading algo is to do this, because unless we do this entire thing what I just explained, we won't get this kind of a liquidity. And unless we get this kind of a liquidity, we can't repeg either LUNC or USTC. And that's probably the last thing I wanted to say in this video, that LUNC validators should take this really seriously, because there is no other way to do this. And this is extremely serious business, and I've thought about it, and that is why I'm doing this. So I don't know, like, I wouldn't say that trust me on this, because that's a situation like a trust me bro thing. So I'm gonna keep on explaining these the aspects of this algo, as well as other things about trading and things that we can actually do to ensure that there is a repeg. And I'll obviously continue development on it regardless of whatever is happening to Prop 11859, because I'm not completely sure that why LUNC validators are still not convinced about what I can do and what I cannot do, because the algos, I mean, it just works from day one. So it's not like it's working today. It was working two months back also. It was working 8 months back also. When I wrote the original post on Agora, I had a different version of this algo. There was a version 1. which I completely trashed. Actually, I didn't trash it. I mean, I have the computer right here. That computer, one of the SSD drives of that computer got format. I mean, it just crashed. I just have it over there. So it's not working right now. And so it had the version 1 of that algo over there. So I don't even remember how I wrote that version because I don't have a backup of it. So this is version 2. So this is version 2, and I do have a backup of it, obviously, because right now it's public, so like everybody has a backup of it right now, so there is no worry that I'll be losing it. So this is also one of the reasons that I made it public, so that I don't lose it. And and this is how we devs are. We do like development like this. It's not a very careful process. It's a very careless process. But the thing is that you require a careless process to essentially expand your brain, your mind, and open it up to allow this sort of a idea into it. So this is what I want to tell the community, and I'll continue making these videos, and this is gonna be part 1 of the roadmap, because I'm gonna keep doing this series of where I'm gonna explain that what is the entire idea, that why am I doing this, why this algo has been implemented, and what it can do in the future for us. So this is the part 1 of this series of videos on the roadmap of HODLR, obviously. So I'll see you in the next one.